Next one is taxonomy. Taxonomy is the science of classifying living things. All right, first paragraph I will start is titled Classification. You are in a library looking for a mystery novel. You look at the signs above each group of books. Each sign tells you what types of books are in each area. In no time at all, you find your book and are on your way. In a library, you are able to find books quickly because they are classified or grouped by subject. Grouping things according to similarities or how they are alike is called classification. So that really is a good analogy to make. Library classification, right? Everything's divided by subject and then author. And we classify living organisms, not by subject and author, but by different characteristics that they have. Okay? And if you take a look down at figure 5-2, here's an example of insects being classified according to their similarities. And you can see some beetles there. I think most of those are actually beetles, but they're in separate containers based on separate traits. All right? Next, we have taxonomy. The word is taxonomy. Anybody want to volunteer to read taxonomy? Go ahead, Corbin.
About 2.5 million different kinds of organisms have been discovered so far. Each year, the list of living things grows longer. How do scientists keep track of so many organisms? Scientists use a system of classification. The science of classifying living things is called taxonomy. Scientists who classify living things are taxonomists.
Taxonomists, very good. So taxonomy is the science of classification. All right?
Wait.
Yes.
I always thought for some reason taxidermist it had something to do with taxes.
With taxes, yeah, right. Taxidermy
Where?
and taxonomists. So taxidermists are the people who will mount your deer, right, and fish.
Oh,
and those are. But taxonomists are classifier the science of
My
classification.
grandpa, he
Yeah.
shot a black bear,
Yeah.
and then they used a brown bear mount on it, so it looks so weird.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like has disproportionate humps in its back because black bears don't have those.
Right.
It's brown bears and grizzlies.
That
My
have the hump.
stepdad
Okay,
had like
correct. Yeah.
all bears.
All right, moving on. So the next paragraph says, why do scientists classify living things? Classification is a way of organizing information about different kinds of living things. Classification also makes it easier for scientists to identify a newly discovered organism. So, for example, let's say you have all these rules that, all right, let's say this beetle is called a
beetle.
A beetle, all right? It has all these characteristics, and we know it has these characteristics because we've studied and we've seen multiple of them, many of them.
Okay.
Now, if we have all these characteristics and we have it classified, what makes that beetle a beetle? If we find one that's slightly different, right, it's easier to classify it. We can name it like beetle B, or like obviously I'm just making up names.
Beetle, beetus,
Yeah, right. But you get what I'm saying, right? If we have these criteria in this system, okay, that makes it easier. Aiden, can you read classifying living things for us? The next
Me?
paragraph. Yes, sir.
Why me?
Because you look so lively today. You were talking to somebody else. I figured you wanted to use your voice to be heard. Go ahead.
I'm tired. Anyway.
That's new.
Says be quiet. Organisms are classified based on how they are alike. Taxonomists do not group organisms together simply because they look alike. Taxonomists use many characteristics to classify organisms. For example, why is there so many of the same word in this? Taxonomists study the cells of an organism and the organelles that make up the cell. They study the way the organism grows and develops form. They also study the blood of animals. Sometimes they study the organism's DNA. Taxonomists also study how an organism gets its energy. Why was there so many of the same word in that paragraph?
So, now, it's not just based on looks. They study it at a cellular level, or a level where we look at the cell and what the cell contains, or what happens before they're born, how they're born. Okay, early classification systems. I'll read this one. Okay, remember, you should be attempting to answer questions as we go. Okay, right? All right, yep. So, the next one. Early classification systems. One of the first known systems, okay, used to classify living things was developed more than 2,000 years ago by the Greek philosopher Aristotle. Aristotle classified organisms as either plants or animals. Animals were classified into smaller groups based upon where they lived. Aristotle's classification system had 3 groups of animals: land, water, and air. So he had more of a primitive one, right? Okay, now granted this is 2,000 years ago and he lived in one part of the world. One of Aristotle's students, oh boy, Theophrastus, okay, Theophrastus classified plants according to their sizes and kind of stem. Small plants with soft stems were called herbs. Medium-sized plants with many woody stems were called shrubs. Large plants with one woody stem were called trees. Okay? Now, this is where we get into the fun stuff, or where we get to more specifics. In the 18th century, so the 1700s, right, a Swedish botanist named Carolus Linnaeus developed a new way to classify organisms. Linnaeus classified organisms according to their physical characteristics. Organisms that looked alike were grouped together. Linnaeus is known as the father of modern taxonomy. Carolus Linnaeus.
Imagine being dubbed like the father
Right.
of modern taxonomy and like being dead.
Right?
That would suck.
Crazy.
I
All right.
understand that Linnaeus are number 3.
Yeah.
So, the problem with Aristotle is, not the problem, but one of the issues could have been walruses could have been classified as water animals, but they also spend some time on land.
So watermelons.
Yes, that is
But
smart.
typically
They're
in water,
amphibians.
right?
If
But
we have watermelon, we should also have firemelon.
all right, number one. Who wants to read that? Olivia, go ahead. You should be filling this out. When you classify,
You put things into groups according to similarity.
very good. So when you classify, you put things into groups according to similarities.
Doing
Remember,
things.
you should write in a complete sentence.
I want the elemelons. It's elemelons.
But I don't think you
No.
can create that.
Number two.
Yeah, you got the watermelon.
Number two. Wes, go ahead and read that one for us.
Oh,
The science of classifying living things is
Know the answer to that one?
uh,
Check in the key terms.
taxonomy.
Taxonomy, very good. The science of classifying living things is taxonomy. So you got that one? Bingo. Let's go. We're on a roll, everybody. Number three. Carter, go ahead.
Number 2, taxonomists study the way organisms grow and develop before they are born.
Bingo, before they are born.
That's what I was doing. Oh, I am.
So again, we're on number 3, and we're about to move on to number 4. Number 3's
crap.
answer was this: taxonomists study the way organisms grow and develop before they are born. Very good. Okay, number
I
4.
knew that.
Jake.
Okay. About blank million types of organisms have been discovered so far? 2.5 million.
About 2.5 million different kinds of organisms. That's not 2.5 million total organisms. Those 2.5 different, or million, different kinds. Right? Like a dog is different from a cat.
A dog
Is different from a
another
fly.
dog.
Is different from a bee. Is different from
A
blade
human.
of grass.
Bucky,
Okay.
German.
All right.
bees, different
Number
kind of bees.
5. You have to infer.
I don't want to infer.
Well, you have to.
Have him
Corbin.
do it
Go
then.
ahead.
discovering
Read it.
more.
Why is taxonomy an ongoing science?
Why is it an ongoing science?
Because
What do you-
new organisms are discovered.
Very good. We still discover new organisms.
Organism.
We are still discovering new organisms, so we still have to classify them.
Okay, that's how you spell that.
I'm smart. Kind of. Maybe.
Not really.
SMRT.
Focus on strength.
That's right, Avery. Thank you for bringing that lesson.
You're so well.
Rock, go ahead and read number 6.
Yes, thank you. Food is classified in a supermarket. Books are classified in a library. Name 2 other classification systems that are used in daily life.
Okay, who can make the classification system?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
A trash can and a recycling bin.
Okay.
That's
one
sure. Yeah, recycling.
Trash.
And recycling is even broken down further. We can recycle plastics, paper, glass, some metals, things like that. Yeah, all right. That's one. Abel. Clothing, sizes, pants, tops, coats, socks,
Ties.
shoes, ties, hats, scarves,
Bow
mittens.
ties.
Okay.
Bow
Like
ties.
mittens and hats could be categorized into outerwear along with jackets, right? And then you
Bow
have like
ties.
formal wear. Then you have like casual wear, right?
Bow ties.
There you go, clothing.
You really want
Bow
to
ties. You really want to say bow ties?
Yes, I love ties.
Anybody else have a different one that they want to throw out there? Yeah.
Fruits and veggies.
Fruits and food, yeah. Food is classified in a supermarket.
That's kind of sus.
But there's fruits and vegetables, and
Right.
Vegetables.
Size 7,000 on pants. Just
and
putting
fruits
them on
have seeds.
Google and seeing
Vegetables
it.
don't have seeds.
Jake,
School.
school, classified into
Different subjects.
grades, subjects. Very good, love it. Nice.
Yay.
All right,
Kids in a class.
kids in a class.
We're classified by alphabetical order sometimes.
All right, number 7, analyze. Why do you think taxonomists do not use appearance alone to classify organisms?
Because
Why can they not solely rely on appearance? Yeah.
Because
Cellular is equal.
stop. Okay. Because sometimes different organisms look really alike.
Mm-hmm. But they aren't the same,
Right. That's what
Okay.
I said.
So, like, some spiders might look like an insect, but they're not technically an insect because they
They're
have
the
8
right
legs, right?
They're the
There are
right
other
one.
examples out there. We can't just look at what they look like. Okay? Like a giraffe has spots. So does a leopard. Are they going to be classified into like the same like species?
No.
Right? Are they both mammals?
Yes.
But like that's why we can't just go off of looks or a certain appearance.
Nice.
Okay?
No.
Now that was like
I would have done like 2 different types of beetles, so that would make the most
Wait,
sense.
what was the spider mean?
there are some spiders that look like insects because they might like hide.
Or mushrooms. Lots of mushrooms look alike.
Trapdoor spiders. Birds.
Those
There's honey mushrooms and then they're deadly little.
Okay, I will give you 5 minutes to get this written down.
I already feel.
Done. I'm ready.
Do we have to do another one? Is there gonna be
Yep.
is there
Why?
a textbook quiz coming soon?
Why?
Like we have to write. Okay. Yay.
Love
Love those.
Just yay. Love
Corbin, it's
those.
not scissors.
I did
So this is
absolutely
finished?
horrible on the last one.
So we gotta go on and
It's not scabbers, it's scissors. Jeez, people
So there's only a question on this too.
Is more business.
If you are done, close your science textbook and put it below your desk.
Yay.